This episode proves one thing. You can be book smart, have the best intentions, but still be a massive idiot. Massive idiot in the long run.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Will, and as you can see, I'm not home. Yep, it's been a travel week for me, but it doesn't stop the fact that I downloaded Disney Plus to my tablet so I can still watch Marvel's What If. This is episode 4, What If Doctor Strange Lost the Love of His Life instead of his hands? Man, these episodes have gotten dark. This is a spoiler review, so if you haven't watched the episode, please pause this and go watch the episode first. I think it was actually a pretty good episode. It is a dour episode with a dour ending, but I feel like with the way that the What If series is telling these Elseworld stories, you have to have the good outcomes and the bad outcomes, and this is definitely one, but this episode does a lot too. Go watch the episode, come back and hear my thoughts on it, and if you're new to the channel, hey, welcome. My name's Will. I do this type of thing periodically, even when I'm not home. But if you like movie reviews, if you like trailer reactions, if you like a guy talking about some geeky stuff and drinking and gaming sometime, you know, subscribe to the channel. I'd love to talk to you, love to get to know you, that sort of thing. But hopefully you will enjoy this video. So, without further ado, let's talk about this episode. So this episode focuses on Doctor Strange, hence the title of the episode, and in this particular world or this particular timeline, Doctor Strange doesn't actually lose his hands in the auto accident that leads him down the path of magic. Instead, he loses Christine Palmer, who was the nurse that works with him in the first Doctor Strange movie, played by Rachel McAdams, and unfortunately she is the one who dies in the tragedy, but it still causes Stephen Strange to seek out magic to try to find a way to find reason as to what happened, even a way to try to reverse what happened. The course of the rest of his life kind of goes according to plan, or basically goes the same way that we get in the main Marvel movie timeline, where he defeats Dormammu the same way, masters the mystic arts, becomes the Sorcerer Supreme, but instead of continuing the charge of protecting our reality from extra-dimensional forces, he still grieves over the loss of Christine. So much to the point that he uses the time stone to go back in time and try to prevent her death. And we get this really dark montage, very reminiscent to Groundhog's Day, where he's just forced to relive her death over and over and over again. And this forces him to make some really dark choices and head down a very dark path, which he is warned by multiple people not to do. So everyone who says that Stephen Strange does not make those sort of reckless choices when they watch the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, this episode is here to tell you he will screw up the world because he thinks he can do it or he thinks he can fix it. It is a very dour ending, and Stephen goes down a very dark path. He ends up tapping into some really dark magic by finding the lost library of Cagliostro. If you remember, the Cagliostro was the same sort of cult that Caecilius was involved in during the Doctor Strange movie, where he tapped into the powers of the dark dimension. And in this episode, Doctor Strange decides that he needs more power in order to basically change an unchangeable event. I forget the specific term that they use, but it's basically a fixed point in time that cannot be altered. Hence the reason that no matter what he did when he was trying to use the time stone, Christine always died. He ends up pulling dimensional beings from across the multiverse and across multiple realities and absorb their powers and constantly absorb their powers. He gets into a confrontation with the Ancient One when she tries to stop him before he goes down the dark path, but she ends up actually using a spell to split Doctor Strange into two divergent paths. So in this reality, there's actually two Doctor Stranges. One who does not choose to go down this path and continue his charge as the Sorcerer Supreme. Eventually, we do get a confrontation between both Doctor Stranges, because due to the fact that he is trying to absorb all this dark magic and trying to reverse this event that will cause their reality to basically cease to exist, our good Doctor Strange confronts him to try to stop him. Basically, they're two halves of the same coin, and in order for this this evil Doctor Strange or the dark Doctor Strange to have the power to break this cycle or break this event that happened to Christine, he would need to reabsorb the lighter side of Doctor Strange. The actual battle between the two of them is really cool. They both are pulling out the stops, using all their powers, but eventually our evil Doctor Strange is the one that wins and is able to absorb the good one and brings Christine back to life, but has been completely mutated and altered and terrifies Christine to the point where she eventually does die anyway, and reality crumbles onto itself. One thing about this episode that's really important to note as well is that Uatu the Watcher, this is the first real instance that we got him to do more than just give us our intro. He is very much watching the destruction of this reality and actually questions himself about stepping in to warn Doctor Strange, even though multiple people warned him, you are about to seriously screw the pooch on this. Wong warned him. The Ancient One warned him twice. And even in a ghostly message to the Good One that, hey, a version of you f***ed up and you gotta kind of stop him, or that's it. And even Oban, who is the caretaker of the library of Caecilius, warns him as well, like, you're going down a dark path, dude. But of course, in his hubris, Doctor Strange feels like, I know what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing. And this episode exactly proves that he does not. He's rife with guilt over the death of Christine, the fact that he has all this power and can do nothing about it. And he can't accept the fact that, things happen for a reason. This is a huge difference from the actual live action movie where, yes, he lost his hands. And even though he lost the precision use of his hands, he still found a way to move on. And clearly, he's not as attached to his hands as he is to Christine, this love that he had for her. And it's very different than we got teases of this relationship in the live action movie, but clearly at some point there was a falling out, most likely more so due to the fact he was in an accident and it really broke down his self-confidence in the movie. And in this version of events, we clearly see that she saw past that and still had feelings for him enough to go with him to this event, which she didn't do in the live action. So that's the point where obviously the timelines diverge into two separate timelines. But Uatu really does question if he's going to step in, but he feels like even if he does, this version of Steven is not going to listen, and he doesn't, although Steven is aware that the Watcher is there. He sees him, he senses his presence. And I was expecting a cameo, which I'll talk about in just a minute, that we didn't end up getting, but he knows he's there, and as reality is crumbling and deteriorating and about to be completely extinguished, he reaches out to Uatu begging him to help, and Uatu continues to be steadfast in his belief that he cannot intervene. He is not a god, just like Doctor Strange is not a god. And he really does lay into him, even though Steven is begging. He's like, punish me, don't punish the world. It's like, it's too late. You screwed up, dude. And that's it. And he pieces out. And unfortunately, the universe collapses, death, darkness, and that's how the episode ends. It was a lot more of a dour ending. I was pretty impressed with them going with this because it does show that not all of these universes are going to be the same bright and bubbly nature. And as these episodes have progressed, we've gotten more and more of a separation from what we're used to with what we've gotten in the MCU to these new alternate realities that we're experiencing through What If. It's really a smart play that they started the first two episodes very familiar with very subtle changes. And by the time we got to episode 3 from last week, where it was definitely a huge departure from the normal chain of events with the death of all the original Avengers, with this one having a Doctor Strange who is rife with guilt and is willing to do whatever to bring back or to repair some sort of personal tragedy, even at the warnings of everyone else around him who is honestly more tapped into the mystical arts and can see past any sort of personal ego. This episode really does shine more of a light on the idea that what we're going to see in Spider-Man No Way Home with a Doctor Strange who feels incredibly confident in his abilities, which rightfully so. He was very instrumental in saving half of all life in the universe. Of course, he feels like a simple spell is beneath him and he should be able to do it. Although, clearly based off the trailer, we know that doesn't happen. Having Uatu finally become more of a character in the series is also really important, considering the fact that we're getting to about the halfway point of these episodes, and we're starting to see more of a connectivity between these multiversal stories. I was very surprised that we didn't get a Captain Carter cameo, because there were images from the original trailer for What If that we saw this version of Stephen Strange and Captain Carter in the same space together. It could have been a misdirect, because Marvel is notorious for misdirects when it comes to their trailers, but if this is leading to some sort of multiversal Avengers-style team forming, this could be a way that this version of Doctor Strange can find some form of redemption after basically causing the destruction of his own timeline. I did like the episode a lot. I was very engrossed when watching the episode as well. I ain't got nothing else better to do when I'm in a hotel room by myself. But I thought it was a really good episode. I like how we've progressed from the very familiar with light changes to really alternate universe style stories. This episode really feels like the first major episode that really earns the title of What If. Like, what if these situations happen differently? What are the ramifications of it? With the first two episodes, as much as I love the second episode, it was a subtle change with big impactful events, but they all still kind of ended up working out for the heroes in the end. The third episode ended kind of on a dour note with a little bit of hope at the end. This episode, it's just a straight gut punch, dour ending, and they fade to black. And I thought that was a really cool way to end it. I'm very excited for the next episode. I also don't know which episode we might be getting with this. I mean, there's other characters we haven't seen yet that have been teased in trailers. We've seen our Spider-Man who had the cloak of levitation on him. We've also seen a version of Thor that has been labeled as Party Thor. So this seems like a Thor that didn't have the events of his first movie to really kind of teach him humility and how to be more of a hero. It seems like he's still more of a party animal or reckless. Of course, we have our Marvel Zombies episode coming up as well, which seems definitely like more so the wrap up of season 1, where maybe we're going to get a lot of these characters from these different episodes finally uniting to do whatever they need to do. But overall, that's my thoughts on episode 4 of Marvel's What If. Hopefully you've had a chance to check it out. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. As always, thank you so much for checking out this and all of my videos. I really do appreciate it. You can follow me on a lot of social media that's listed at the end of the video. I've got a ton of videos currently on the channel right now that you're more than welcome to check out. And I've got some videos coming up that I had the pleasure of recording with my husband. So expect those on the channel very soon. But as always, until next time, I will catch you later. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you did like this video, why not give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends? You can subscribe to the channel by clicking on my gorgeous little face right over there. You can follow me on all the various social media platforms right below. And last but certainly not least, if you've got a few extra minutes, why not check out one of the lovely videos floating right over here. Later.